Everybody, this is Richard, and tonight we have Dark Designs in Krevborna. We are using a game I wrote that appears in Codex Emerald called Dark Designs in Verdigris, but I have hacked it to work with Jack Shear's awesome setting Krevborna, which is a gothic fantasy setting filled with vampires, old ones, and all the things that make gothic fantasy really fantastic. I have got 3 amazing players here tonight. And I'm going to have them introduce their characters to you, starting with Alejandro playing Altaban.
Hi, I'm Altaban. I am a incredibly talented musician, a prodigy of the family, who was banished when he was when it was revealed that he was in love with, that he had a love affair with Masilde, his Fae lover. So the family is very vindictive. They banished him from the house and do everything that they can to ruin his career as a musician. And he travels with a spirit animal, Moro, who is a hairless cat with bat wings. And Altaban has been cursed with bestial features, which means he has slit eyes, like slit cat eyes. And on stage, he looks normal, like a normal human, but up close, he has this fine layer of fur all over that is the cat eyes and that, and then maybe like slightly pointed ears. Masilde, his lover, Fae lover, I would say was some type of satyr type of creature. That's it. That's Altaban.
Awesome. And Philip playing Mason. Mazer. Sorry.
Mason.
Mason. Sorry.
Mason is a young, sexy, laid back sort of guy who kind of goes with the flow, and he's good in the sheets and in the streets, and also in the ritualistic circle. Lately, he can't help but find himself in the middle of every ritual that comes around. Yeah, he he's got his pack, he's got a sword, he's got a gun, and he kind of deals with trouble as it comes his way because it's very much sure to do so. But he can't resist the fun on the side, and he's usually running out of someone's bedroom whenever there's trouble.
Nice, thank you. And then Rin playing Nemes.
So I'm playing Nemes. He is a thief, or he was a thief by trade, and now he's just kind of lost, I guess. He's given up a crime, but he doesn't really know what he's doing, and he's haunted by a shade. So yeah,
that shade started following you because of a job gone terribly wrong, in which you stole something cursed, didn't you?
Yeah, and it got me out of crime.
Yeah, so, yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
And that was for a scholar priest, I believe, from Creed Hall.
Yes.
The university town of Creed Hall. Martinez Rosalva, which you had a connection with too, Mason, right?
Yeah. So I think I missed Nemes's. Is it Nemes?
Nemes. I don't know.
Nemes. I think I missed Nemes's connection to him. But my connection was that I helped him with a ritual to get an artifact.
Nice. Okay.
That's all.
And I stole an artifact from
Probably
him.
not exactly the same artifact, but you know, perhaps you know. And as you were at the right time in the right place to help him get rid of an artifact that he no longer wanted but could not just throw away.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But you're not in Creed Hall, the big university town tonight. You are outside tonight in this beautiful, beautiful half moon light, clear sky, filled with stars. On a black-sailed ship called the Hanged Rover. And I have a couple of straight-up questions for you, and then I want to, as a group, they have not pre-decided these questions, audience at home. They're going to be answering them even now. And those questions are you coming to Piscaro, or are you trying to get back out of Piscaro? I know that Nemes is from Piscaro originally, and this is not your first time coming back or going away, probably. But are you in this particular trip? Are you coming or going, or are you out on this pirate ship for an entirely different reason? And that's just answer that question right there, and then you don't have to define it any further than that right away. I'll follow up with something on that. And does the crew know you're here? So coming, going, or something else? And does the crew know you're here?
I had an idea that we went into Piscaro originally because I had a lead for a possible patron that didn't pan out, but manifested into whatever is happening now. What do you guys think?
Does that sound good to you, Mason and Nimbus?
Yeah.
So what was it exactly that didn't pan out?
I had a lead for a patron for my music, and for whatever reason it didn't work out, and that landed us on this ship. That's my idea so far.
Okay.
But something about the patron is what landed you on the ship. Do you want to modify, add to, do any clarifying questions with that?
So, like, is the idea that like we went to another city to visit this musical patron, and we're just kind of returning?
That's sort of my question to you. You know, I know Nemes generally doesn't stay in Piscaro.
Ah, okay.
And that both of you have done jobs in Creed Hall, the university town.
I like the idea that like we went to this place to like get away for a bit. And it ended up just like being another one of those situations where, you know, like this person who was a patron ended up being involved in something darker. Of course. Of course, it wasn't just like, they weren't just a musical patron. There was like something else going on.
Does that sound all right with you, Ultiman? That your potential patron had some ulterior motives?
Yeah, that sounds
okay. Were you trying to escape when you got onto the ship? Or were you sort of put onto the ship because of some shenanigans, but someone else's shenanigans, essentially?
I think Nemes should answer that one.
I think that we're probably trying to get out. I don't stay long in really anywhere.
Right.
I think there is some animosity towards me from the town.
Right. Well, at least from,
Yeah.
that professional bourgeois class that your parents belong to. All right. So I'm going to bring this back to you, Nemes. Did your friends know you were putting them onto a pirate ship to get out of town? And does the crew know you're here? Did your friends know it was a pirate ship, and does the crew know you're here?
I don't think my friends knew that it was a pirate ship. I think
you don't sail a black flag in the harbor.
Yeah. I think I probably heard of some sort of score, and I know I'm out of crime now, but I'm just kind of lured back in. And I don't think the crew knows we're here. I think, what's his name? I think Swithin got us onto this ship.
So you're stowing away. Where do you think the ship is heading? Do you think it's going to Chancel? Do you think it's going to Creed Hall? Do you think it's going somewhere else?
I think it's just leaving.
Leaving. Okay.
Yeah. Whoever this patron guy was, it was bad, and you got to get the fuck out of here.
So you're stowaways. Did Switham know you were traveling with Mason?
I think I mentioned it, but I think I probably went to go see Switham on my own.
Okay. Mason, did you know or suspect that Switham was involved in getting you onto this ship?
Oh, I had no idea, but I think that if Nimes mentioned me, that was probably like the thing that like got Switham to help us get on the ship in the first place, because he was like, "Oh, you brought him here? What are you doing?" Because we're kind of like lovers of a sort. So, so he was like, "Why'd you bring him here?"
Convoluted criminal plans to make sure he doesn't see you when you're in town.
Exactly. Yeah, it's always like just missing each other.
I've had those relationships. All right. Let's. Lost my note. There we go. I'm just making a couple of notes. You aren't very far from Pescaro. Nimes, I assume you understood this was a pirate ship. You had no delusion. You had no illusions that this was not a pirate ship.
Fully knew what I was getting us into.
Okay. You've not been at sail for more than an hour or so. Mason, Altaban, what was it that made you both aware at roughly the same time that you're on a ship that's up to no good?
I think it's because we found like
No, you're still away, so you're still sneaking around.
Yeah, we're sneaking around, but we're like under the decks, right? And I think
Yeah.
we just found like a bunch of bloody stuff. Like stuff just covered in blood. Yeah.
Like people's clothes or
I think we found, well, it had to have been like valuables, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah. I think we found like a bunch of valuables covered in blood. Like
silks, furs.
Yeah.
Jewelry.
Yeah. I think that
boxes.
I think it's also they're also like leaving really fast. Like they're like we don't know what's going on the deck, but we've been on boats on the ships before.
Oh yeah.
And they're like we have to get out of here now. Like it's time. Go. Whatever it is that they did, it's time. And there's like this hectic kind of not the typical like leaving port like instead of like untying some lines are being cut, you know.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So one suggestion I would make to you, if this sounds all right, it also may seem weird to those of you who are experienced that you can feel the waves, the choppy waves, though it's not a stormy night at all, which would suggest, and they're sort of hitting the ship starboard side, which would suggest they're not heading out to sea, they're going parallel to the shore. So they're just kind of constantly smacking hard into the side of the ship. Does that sound about right? So Nemez, last question for you. As you guys are kind of moving around, trying to find a place to sort of nest in where the crew won't see you among the cargo in the hold. And your friends find these blood-covered items. Which of those blood-covered items is strangely familiar to you and gives you a sense that more is wrong than you initially thought?
And
I assume you guys, there's just lanterns in the hold.
I think probably some occult items, not just fancy items, but like these pirates have been messing with some pretty dangerous people. So I think I probably recognize something from I should really write down these names.
That's okay.
Martinus is collection. Maybe I saw who he sold something to.
Martinus is supposed to be at the university.
Yeah.
So that's very strange that Martinus would be here.
I don't know if he's here exactly, but I've definitely seen I don't know an item from his collection that he was probably trying to get rid of.
All right. So I think that's when you see it, and it is indeed got blood on it. Can you give me a? Is this a hard physical item, soft physical item, potion?
I think it's I think it's a hard physical item, maybe
A knife, a compass.
I was thinking, yeah, a compass would work. Or a like a watch of some sort. No, I like compass.
Nice. Okay.
And I think it's probably inscribed with some demonic language.
Something fiendish. All right. Okay. So you've been hiding from the crew. Let me ask you one thing. Is the hold lit by spaced out lanterns, or have you lit a candle to check your surroundings in the otherwise darkened hold?
Wait, can you say that again? The first part?
Yeah. Did someone leave lights or lanterns on in the hold, or did you light a candle to check out your surroundings in the hold? And the hold would be the bottom of the ship. There shouldn't be anybody else here.
I would say that maybe there was one candle by the door left.
Okay.
Maybe unintentionally lit, and we took that as we came in, as we descended. Unless somebody else has a different idea.
So you just got that one candle. Okay. And you've just seen this, and Nemez, you recognize this from, you may not fully understand it, but you certainly recognize it, having seen it in Martinus's collection, since you've stolen things from that collection before. And I think that's Nimbus, I think you sort of hear, as soon as you look at it, you hear Vimiza, who clings to you, shudder. And you hear, only you hear the little whisper of the word hungry. The rest of you hear just sort of a muttering of air or wind or something like that. But Nimbus, you definitely hear the word hungry in there as the light sort of falls across this strange compass that you specifically recognize. That's just sort of been discarded on the floor in a pile of otherwise also expensive material. Fine clothes, fine furs. There's a crate of expensive wine. And the ship kind of rocks slightly again as it gets slapped from the starboard side. As it parallels the shore and rocks a little bit. And then you hear 2 pairs of boots descend into the deck above where you are from the top. And you hear a woman's voice. Kind of barking orders that you can't really make them out. And then somebody starts to open the hatch to the hold. I mean, the nice thing about being a stowaway in the hold is people don't generally tend to come down here, except for very specific things. But right now, less than an hour after the ship set out, somebody is descending to the hold. What do you do?
Is that a specific what do you do?
That is, you hear people coming down you hear people opening the hatch. What do you do?
I find a place to hide.
Okay.
Yeah, and I go with you, but I blow out your candle.
I think I'm going to try to grab that compass and just hide in the pile of bloody fancy items.
All right. I'd like, and the two of you are sort of willing to sort of go far away to kind of the other crates and barrels on the far side of the hold, but you're sort of like hiding in that stack of fancy items, right? Nemes?
Yeah.
Is that a good summary of the situation?
Yeah, the bloody fancy clothing and stuff.
All right. And you did I hit that right? For Altaban and Mason? Okay. Nemes, I'd like you to roll 2d6 with duplicity. And you can use the die roller. You can also feel free to use physical dice if that's your preference. And just tell me what you get once you add your duplicity to that. What'd you do? And you're muted.
Sorry, I was muted. So I rolled a 4 plus 3, so 7.
7, okay. So you can be in an awkward but poorly hidden position. Or sorry, you can sort of be close but poorly hidden, or you can sort of roll away at the last minute. And be a little further from that center of the treasure pile.
Yeah. I guess I'll roll away.
Okay.
Because we don't want to get seen by these guys.
Right. All right. You are sort of dive behind one of the crates. When the hatch door opens and 2 people kind of come down the step ladder, into the hold. And you see just their boots. One of them very, very polished, and one of them much more just sort of worn. And you hear a woman's voice that now that it's close, you recognize Mason, because Switham had dealt with her on a number of occasions and never had anything. He had lots of things that were respectful to say about her, but never anything terribly kind. You hear the voice of Vanessa Redmayne, a dominant pirate captain in the waters around Pescaro. And they start working with a crowbar as Redmayne gestures to a crate near where you were hidden, Nimes. And it's hard for you to see from where you are. And then you hear the crate front pop off. And then you hear kind of a solid thunk, like somebody got kicked. And then you hear her, say, wake up. And you hear another thunk.
Mm-hmm.
I said, wake up.
So did they bring...
You're all about equidistant. Just to clarify real quick, sorry, Nimes, but if you're all about equidistant, yeah, they have lanterns. You're all about equidistant, but you can't really, from where you are, see sort of what it is she is doing. You all have like a bad view of what it is, whatever it is she's looking at. If you sneak a look, you're going to be putting yourselves at risk of getting spotted. So I'm sorry. And Nimes, going back to your question.
Oh, I was just going to ask about the light, if they had brought any.
Yeah, they have 2 lanterns,
Mm-hmm.
and they've sort of set them down on sort of the ground next to the crate.
You
I'll
said
definitely.
You said we had a. No. You said we had a bad. We can all have a bad view of it.
You all have it. You can't see what she's looking at.
Okay.
You can't see what she's looking at. If you try to get in position to, you'll be putting yourselves at risk. And sorry, what was you were about to say, Mason?
Yeah, I'm totally gonna take a risk and try and see what it is. I think what I do is I crouch down and kind of like do like a ground crawl, behind some like low-lying junk and try and get a glimpse at what they're looking at.
All right.
So I think I would roll plus
duplicity, please.
Duplicity. That is a 7.
A 7. Okay. Do you want to see a face but make a noise? Or would you prefer to stay secure but see something. But you'll probably be the first to see anything once if she moves out of the way, or the guy with her moves out of the way.
You
can definitely tell they are. The thunk is they are kicking somebody who's tied up in that crate.
Yeah, no, I think that I want to see who this is. So yeah, I probably go extend myself a little too far, and I think I knock over some like bronze urn or something.
You don't necessarily knock it over, but you nudge it.
Right.
You nudge something that, maybe it's a rat, maybe it's just the ship shifting. Does that sound okay?
Yeah. No, I don't. But if I even think it's a rat, then I probably like.
Oh no, I'm saying like somebody else hearing it.
Oh, I see. I see.
It's
Okay.
Enough noise.
Yeah.
It's just subtle enough that you have a little bit of hope that it might not get heard.
Okay. Yeah, that wasn't that loud.
Yeah, I mean,
I kind of caught it. So, just
Nemes and Altaban, it was that loud. And you look down and you see the face, and it's Martinus. And Redmayne is pointing at him and just saying, "Did you think that we would not know where you were? Or that you had gone back on our deal?"
Do I know who Martinez is?
You probably might recognize them, but you only Mason can see that at this point.
I just
yeah. I would. You can tell me if you do or not, since two of your friends definitely do.
Maybe I don't know him, but I could recognize him.
Yeah. And Mason, you can see that Martinus is clearly terrified. He's also gagged. It's terribly, profoundly unfair and evil to ask questions of somebody who's gagged, but we're talking about Vanessa Redmayne, who's never been known for being fair.
I mean, he always had Switham always had respectable things to say about her, just not kind. So
right.
I feel like she's somewhat of a professional. So for her to be this upset, I mean, this is someone who you don't want to cross, right?
Right. She's either deliberately trying to be very scary or she's actually really mad. It's always hard to tell. But she is really scary. And Martinus looks actually terrified.
Is there someone with her too?
Yes, there's just sort of you can't really see his face. It's just a broad-shouldered, or their face. It's just a broad-shouldered figure, bandana, long hair, kind of got shapeless clothes on, very flashy, and lots of jewelry, but otherwise, can't really tell much about them until they turn around. And they reach down and sort of drag Martinus sort of out of the box or the crate he's been in and plop him down onto the ground. And undo his gag. He just starts yelling, sorry, and Redmayne just says, why should I not call for you to just walk the plank right now? You might even make it to shore. We're not that far away. If we drop you off at the ship in the right direction and you figure out which way to swim, you might even do okay. You might not drown or get eaten by a shark. What did you do with those artifacts that she paid us for? What do you do? Or what are you doing?
I think that I'm trying to make eye contact with Nemes, because we both know Martinus pretty well, I think, because I helped Martinus in a ritual, and that was probably a whole big ordeal. and then you took something from him, right? Or was it that he gave it to you, or
yeah, he gave it to me. He just kind of left it there for me to take. So
same difference. Yeah, maybe like you were there when I was like with this ritual, and you just happened to take advantage of the situation, the distraction, right?
Yeah.
Altaban, what about you? What are you doing? Just to get a picture of where everyone is and what they're up to.
I'm in my corner. I'm holding back. I can see him now, right? Martinus now.
You cannot see Martinus now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
You can. All three of you can see him out, sort of on the floor.
Yeah. So I'm holding back, and I don't know how magic works, but I am preparing to magic if I need to.
The one thing you need to know about magic is there's a write-up of basically how it works in that player document.
Yeah, the limitations, the negative ones.
Yeah. The other thing is failures. I belong to the Jason Cordova School of Spell Failures. It never hurts the person casting the spell.
Okay.
Directly.
Yeah. Okay. I've never experienced that.
I may ask you to take some volunteer for some significant potential damage to stop it, but in general, the spell failure will never directly hurt the person casting the spell.
Okay. None of these limitations really seem to apply at this point.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And we'll talk through those when you actually tell me what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But you're making.
Sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said I'm pretty close to you, though, right?
The hold is not terribly huge. The ship gets smaller as it goes down.
Right.
But no ship, even ones noted for being big, is ever all that big.
Right. Space is a commodity.
Space is, yeah. There's a reason for all those close sailing relationships. You're not terribly far from either Nemes or Altaban, and you were trying to make eye contact with Altaban, right? Or sorry, with Nemes, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So that barrel that you nudged a few minutes ago that made a little bit of rocking noise that no one seemed to pay attention to seems to have been sort of moved, and now it's starting to tilt just as a wave sort of hits the side of the ship, and it starts to sort of tilt over. And it's not fully tilted over yet, But you can sort of see it in that sort of maze, and you well, actually, you and Nemez can sort of see it in that slow motion. Something's about to fall.
Yeah.
Moment that, and this is the barrel you clipped. Altaban, you probably can see a little bit of this too, but you're just a few more inches or maybe a couple of feet away, or a couple of feet further.
So my shade, can that affect physical things? Like for my trait shadowy protector, could I have the shade sort of write it so that it's not gonna tip?
Yeah, why don't you start by just rolling with sorcery.
Rolling with sorcery.
And explain to me sort of how you're telling your shade what to do without revealing your location.
So I rolled a so I rolled an 8 plus 1, so 9. And I think since the shade is sort of feeding off of me, that in order to get something that I want, he takes a little bit from me.
Let's do... Oh, it may be a little bit. Why don't you roll a d6?
Two.
Where do Mason and Altaban see the blood stain on what? And are you wearing the sort of white shirt, much like your character portrait?
Yeah.
Okay, so where do they see the blood stain?
Sort of like over my heart, I guess. So on my chest.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, this all of a sudden you see a red stain just sort of spread against against Nemez's chest, and then the barrel sort of, and that's how much hit point damage you took from
Sounds
that.
Good.
And the barrel sort of just slowly rotates back into place. You don't need to mark that trait. But do you just kind of point where you
Yeah.
want it to go?
Oh, yeah.
And you feel the wetness spread across your chest near your heart. And your breath gets very cold for a second. Nemez. And the compass you're holding on to gets really cold. Like you're holding on to it's almost like you're holding on to something metal that you took out of like the freezer or an ice box. What do you do? And Martinus just starts to cough and sputter. It's just like transparently lying, just like I don't know what you mean. I delivered the items to you like we agreed. And Redmayne kicks him again. And just goes, those weren't the items we were looking for.
Okay. Okay, I think I start preparing my gun, and I kind of like look over to Altaban and kind of like nod at him to like get ready.
Aldeban, what does that mean for you to get ready? That get ready signal.
I get into a crouching position, and my hands kind of like curl into the air, like I'm going to play the air.
All right, so Nimes, the get ready signal. You see Mazen's gun coming out. What are you doing?
I'm just trying to get out of the way. Just stay close to the ground. Because I'm imagining that the gun isn't the most reliable tool.
It is reliably noisy.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to move out of the way of the shot.
I mean, Mazen is fairly ferocious with that gun, but the gun is definitely reliably noisy. Mazen, are you taking that shot?
My plan is actually to threaten with it. So,
Okay.
yeah, I'm going to just walk right out with my gun pointed right at her and my sword at my side, and I just say, "Yes, Martinus, what is it that you're hiding?"
They definitely turn to look at you, and the big person with Vanessa starts to go for their own gun.
Can I act?
Yeah.
So I have transformation and transitions. I make it so like their pant legs are sewn together down the middle, and like their sleeves are sewn to their shirts.
Okay.
I don't know how that works.
All right. It does not go further. You can see it is not larger than and it's two people, both of them, or just the person who's reaching for the gun. That's for you, Altaban. And you're muted. Sorry.
Yeah.
Both of them are just the person.
Both of them.
So that'll be. And it's not retroactive or delayed. And you have, I believe, you have a 0 sorcery. So this will be at a -1 unless you want to just randomly mark a trait. The trait you mark just to offset that -1 does not really matter.
Okay. It's 1 for 1. So if it was -3, I can hit 3 traits.
Right. Actually, no. It's yeah. If it's -3, you can mark up 3 traits. So. But they don't give you bonuses. They just cancel. They just cancel negatives. Now you can also use a trait to like you can on any failed roll.
Yeah, I'm gonna check my enchanting voice.
All right. So you're gonna roll at just straight up roll.
Yeah.
Tell me how you do.
6.
6. You can mark another trait that you think is relevant. You can mark another trait you think is relevant to turn that into a partial success. Or we can go to spell failure.
How does spell failure work then?
Oh, it will be me having lots of fun.
Yeah. So I'll check stealth.
So this, I want you to explain it. So for this, you'll need to explain how this sort of gets it. And you can make the case for stealth, but kind of like that, because I'm stealthy, I'm able to.
Yeah, I'm going to switch it to escape because escape makes more sense. Yeah. Okay. So I'm making it escape because we're trying to escape this danger.
Right. Okay. Yeah, you're trying to. Yeah. Also, you were unescaping the person who. At least one of them. Would you prefer this to ensnare Vanessa Redmayne or ensnare and trip the nameless companion?
Okay. So because originally I wanted
you're taking it to a 7.
Okay. Oh, I see. I'm going to ensnare the captain.
Nice. Okay. So the big person with the broad shoulders is still going for their gun when all of a sudden the captain is sort of ensnared and starts to wobble. What does this look like as you sort of bring this cloth together? What would an audience at home see you doing to the captain there, Altaban?
I'm just like my hands are just kind of dancing through the air, and as she tries to raise her arms, like the fabric is joined as if they were like her legs and her arms are like as if it was designed that way.
Oh, nice. Okay. Nimes, Mason, what are you doing now that you suddenly have Vanessa Redmayne clearly annoyed and frustrated? What's going on there? What are you doing?
Is this other guy like still coming at me with his gun though? Is that a thing?
They are still pulling that gun out. Slightly distracted, but still whipping that gun around to bring it to bear on you.
I'm gonna try and use the distraction to gain the speed, and with my quickness, hopefully, just impale them with my sword.
Okay. So the gun was sort of a distraction, and now you're gonna like.
Well, I figured that big old binding thing was the distraction.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. The face of somebody looking at your gun, and then all of a sudden you bring the sword around.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Why don't you roll with ferocity?
Let's do this. All right, I've got a decent ferocity score, so let's trying to get my dice here. 1 second. I think someone else rolled them, but I'll re-roll them. It keeps unselecting it for me.
Oh, sorry. I'm not going to touch anything.
Okay. All right. 12.
Nice. Awesome. Roll D6 plus 1.
Okay. That's a 6.
And you were just trying to
bring him down.
Their head is severed off and goes rolling away. Nemez.
I think it goes rolling towards Nemez and like stops right in front of him.
That's lovely. Nemez, what's going on? This escalated.
Yeah, it definitely has. So I have mists and storms, and I was thinking I could put out the lanterns with that. Like a mist comes in, just kind of knocks them out. So
that would be the thing you intended to make work. So
yeah.
Why don't you roll with sorcery if that's what you want to do?
Sounds good.
And I think, yeah, you're not going to take any negative modifiers. So
sweet.
And I rehearse those because I've not had people use sorcery a lot in my games, so I can't remember my own sorcery rules. So I repeat them aloud.
So 8.
8. Less effective or possibly dangerous?
Possibly dangerous.
Okay.
I think.
So the 2 lanterns they brought down explode. And the lights go out completely. But there's still a small blue glow. And in that glow, Nemez, you can see the oil, the spilled oil from the oil pan of the lantern running across the floorboards of the deck towards some barrels that are not marked. And one of the lanterns still has a small blue open flame coming from there. What are the rest of you doing?
I think I've gotten Martinus up off the ground and I'm cutting his ropes.
Okay. Altamon?
I am gagging the captain and further tying her if I can.
All right. And Nemez.
I just want to make sure that that lantern's out, because I don't think this ship should go up in flames while we're on it.
How are you ensuring the lantern's out?
I just want to get it off the floor, away from the spilled oil, and I don't know, just waving it around, I guess.
So I want you to know, I use the die of fate. So you grab it, you wave it around, and then a chunk falls off the lantern, and that chunk is the lit wick, and it starts to kindle the oil going across the deck towards those barrels, as it spills across the floor. What are you doing?
I just want to let I'm gonna let Altaban and Mason know that the floor is on fire and.
Oh, they can see. I promise.
Oh yeah,
you can all see.
I just want to make it real obvious.
So it's oil, right? So
Yeah,
It's lantern oil.
oil's not very easy to put out, is it?
You would need to tell me what you're doing.
I have no idea.
Or
You just splash water on it, right? I'm just
No.
that doesn't sound right. But no. Try that.
You have to suffocate it, right? So I think that I am going to try to
Oh, I mean, the
use
other option is to just run. So, but that's completely up to you. I just wanted to make sure you were
where
aware
do you
of.
run when you're at sea? I'm gonna try and.
How far away are we from Pisker?
You've been at sea less than an hour.
So we're a ways. So if we jumped ship and swam to shore, we would not be within the bounds of Pisker.
Piscaro? No.
Piscar.
And then there may also be lifeboats.
Oh, there it is.
Being smuggled on the ship as you were, it was hard to sort of assess the lifeboat situation.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and bind the flames using magic.
Yes.
And do my magic thing that I have. So, let's see.
I mean, every pure elemental force has a little spirit trapped inside it. Every school child knows this.
Yeah. And let's see. I just roll plus sorcery, right? So
Right.
let's roll it. That is a 10. And I think
You are binding that flame.
yes.
It won't last forever. But where do you want to put the flame or command it to go?
I think that I think I command the flame to go to let's think of something cool. In this like bunch of treasure that was like taken and is all laying here bloody in a pile, right? I think that there is a there is some sort of like ceremonial rod or something with like this big old crystal ball on the end of it. And I think that I think I command the flame to go inside of the crystal ball. And it's got like this like metal talon holding it on the end of the rod. The rod, yeah.
And it's one of those things that's sort of like it's designed to sort of elevate the crystal ball. It's not designed to like it's got like a little like lion's foot stand kind of braced under the bottom of it. So it's it's clearly it's very showy.
Yeah.
It's
like
it's like
yes. It's overdone.
But now there's a red, almost lizard-like creature, reddish blue, sort of like running around inside this crystal ball,
cool.
kind of refracted out.
Yeah, I think that I think I take it and I think I give it to Nemes, and I'd be like, "Why don't you hold on to this?"
That is,
like
it went from being gaudy and extra to being remotely cool. Altaban, this is crap your parents used to do. I mean, everyone knows that these kind of pure physical forces in the world have small spirits inside of them, and this is the kind of crap your parents would get in trouble for, and not trouble like with authorities, trouble with just like stuff around the stuff, you know, stuff in the village would cause problems. But seems to be perfectly caught for now. And somebody can write down that you have.
Oh, I gave it to Nemes, and I think I'm like, seems like you could use some help. Give it to.
You have a spirit name, Wilburn.
Wilburn, like Wilburn.
Mm-hmm.
It's not won't burn.
Right. It's providing a little bit of light, Nimes, not as much as the lanterns. It also moves a little bit, kind of awkwardly, like a candle that's flickering excessively, or guttering almost. But the light does not diminish as it gutters. And then are you holding it aloft or?
Yeah, I guess I'm just holding it. I don't have I'm not using a bag, so just got that in my hands.
All right.
Yeah.
So now you're back to Fring Martinus, correct, Mason?
Yeah, I think I've cut his ropes at this point, and probably wondering why he's on this ship.
And Altaban, you're tying up the captain or gagging her. She's already effectively tied up thanks to your transformation of her clothing into a single piece. And her boots are laced together as if they were one big boot and flow into the clothes, the almost stocking-like clothes that she's wearing. What are you asking them questions? What's going on there?
I actually kneel down next to her, and I take the hair out of her face, and I look into her eyes. I'm very solemn, and I apologize to her, and I promise to someday perform for her, and that she will be delighted.
And the sigh comes out around the gag.
And I also make sure she's comfortable.
Once her eyes stop rolling back in her head, she's much more relaxed. And she just sort of glares straight at you as if she's trying to light you on fire with her glare, but nothing's happening.
Can I tell that she knows magic, or is this just rage?
This is it seems to be purely rage based on nothing happening.
And I'll let her know that someday I'll teach her that trick.
Nice. Martinus is being freed by Mason. And what were you asking?
I think I actually say, it seems like you're in need of my services yet again.
I have no idea how to repay you for this and your friends. And then his eyes kind of go wide as he sees you, Nemes. And he's sort of looking just sort of half past your shoulder.
I turn around. What's
Most of the others can't really see this, but it's just the mesa. And you feel a small trickle from the wound on your chest. Not like it's like bleeding openly again, but like, you know, a little bit of blood has escaped from behind the clot or the scab that's formed. And starts sort of like annoyingly sort of trickle down under your shirt. It's sort of an unpleasant reminder that you have a wound. Is that where Nemeza usually feeds from?
Yeah.
Okay. Just right there on your chest. Or not Nemeza. Sorry, the Mesa. Sorry, not Nemeza.
Yeah.
Apologies. And the only thing there is Vamisa that he's looking at. Oh dear.
And I think I say, I don't think you have to worry. I think you'll figure out a way to repay us. and then I'm like looking around the room and I'm like, oh, but this stuff doesn't count. This is ours already. And I start like picking up some coins and stuff.
I was counting on paying down some debts with the cash I made from the sale, but Captain Redmayne sees that. Along with the items I was given, and he gestures to the stuff that's sort of at your feet. That was the blood of the nice lady's agents who was paying me for the items. But, you know, pirates can be terribly unpleasant people, he says, looking at Vanessa.
I say to her in a low voice, but not, I'm sure, not so quietly that people can't hear me, and say, ignore the insults. They're foolish. And I continue to make her comfortable. Like I take some of the furs to kind of prop it up behind her, and you know, so I'm you know.
You also all notice the ship is still not moving, which it seemed to have a dropped anchor or stopped about the time the captain came down below to the hold. And it's still not moving. Again, fairly close to shore, so that may not be super strange.
I ask Vanessa, where is the ship going?
Are you going to remove her gag?
I guess I should do that as well. Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify, make sure. We were just out for an execution. Somebody who did not give me the goods he was supposed to get me.
I take that as you, Martinez. I am Altaban, by the way. I hold up my hand.
takes it and shakes it.
Yes,
Very
it's a pleasure.
nervous.
It's a pleasure.
I wish we met under more pleasurable circumstances, but yes, I was. I found a different buyer for the goods that I was going to sell the captain. Here in Pescaro, it was very convenient.
So a man that lacks his word. Interesting.
We were going to go do go do an execution, and then we were going to sail up the river to Chancel and have, some small remains shipped off to his sister. I've always been very fond of Martinus's sister. However, now I have to do, she sort of eyes around the room, 4 executions.
Why don't you let us know about this missing item?
Oh, the item that Martinus was supposed to acquire for me.
Maybe if you were a little more forthcoming, such items might find their way into your possession, along with some other deal making.
It was simply a candelabra.
And I look at Martinus and try to get a read off of him and see if this is
trying to
BS
turn into wax and fade into the deck.
He's what?
Trying to turn into wax and fade into the deck.
I think I go over and pick him up and stand him up and pull him over, and he's like, "Come on, Martinus. I know this isn't the scariest situation you've been in.
Why don't you roll ferocity?"
Yeah. That is a 6.
He just starts crying. Just absolutely blubbering. And you're not sure what the story is, but you are certain he has gone too far back in the story. The details you can make out from his sort of incoherent blubbering. You're really certain that Martinus is he's going back about why he had debts and what it was he did that acquired the debts, and his poor sister and her failing health, and if something happens to him, who will look after her? But somebody had to pay for the medical bills and the apothecaries. And so he promised he would do some research into one particular item, and then he's lost again. He's lost again, and then about a minute later, he says something about a saint and a relic.
Yeah.
And then 4 executions, 4 joyful, wonderful executions.
I think that I'm gonna do something bold. I'm gonna knock out Martinus.
He's not resisting, so I think it's pretty good, easy to cold cock him. And
yeah, I just knock him out. And I'm like, look, we are just trying to get from A to B, but it seems like we can help each other out. Unless you're just going to be a jerk about it. And I say, what'll it be? You want us to cut you out of those clothes, or you want us to cut you out of your throat?
And I just want to check in with anybody else. Is there anything else anybody else is doing?
No, I'm just sitting next to the captain.
how are you planning to be of assistance to me? My crew is going to come down here sooner or later.
But
No
not with
other-
the candelabra.
And you might not be left here to welcome them. We're not just random stowaways. We have a habit of getting our hands on all kinds of things. I mean, look at that guy over there. He's got like a new staff thing. Don't remember him having that compass before, though.
Yeah, that compass is still really, really cold in your hand, Nemes.
So in one hand I've got the cold compass, and the other hand I've got the fire spirit.
You've got a fire elemental on a stick.
Yeah. Nice.
She looks at you, and I'd like you to roll duplicity there, Mason, just to see how well this goes.
That's a 10. I think I even say, I'm like, whatever you're looking for, whether that be treasure or magic or something more fun, you couldn't find better people than us.
Mason, Vanessa sort of eyes you up and down. She's like, I like it when men are excessively confident, far beyond the normal limits of their actual abilities. It's one of my favorite things. You're skilled at acquiring things. Is this what I hear? Not just music. She looks at Altaben. Not just music?
Oh no, that's just the gift that comes with the acquisitions.
Really? Skilled at acquiring things. So tell me, what's your most notable acquisition? And there she looks straight at Nemes. I mean, not just stuff you found on the floor. What is the most notable thing you've ever acquired? Just looking at Nemes. And you're on mute, Ren.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I go, well, I haven't had a chance to check out this compass yet. But I've got my hands in Martinus's cabinet of wonders a couple times.
Is that where you got the thing over your shoulder?
What thing? It's just hanging around. He could go wherever he wants.
She sighs again. All right. I think I can figure out some acceptable terms for a deal. Should Mr. Da Silva offer, I'm sorry, Dr. Da Silva offer to provide us with the information that he has, $1,000 chancel silver on completion of the job. Does that sound acceptable?
Sure. A little spending money would be nice.
It would be. And it's a fair compensation for the delivery of these items, I believe.
So, out of character, real quick, she's referring to the candelabra.
Oh, no. She's referring to payment. Chancellor.
Right. No. The 1,000 silver for a candelabra.
Oh, no. She's about to make you an offer.
Oh, I see. Okay.
1,000 chancel silver for the recovery of the artifact. Oh, yeah, the candelabra. Sorry. That artifact. That candelabra. Sorry. For the recovery of the candelabra. The simple candelabra carved, coated in brass, of no particular value to anyone.
Sure. Sounds good. But I've just got one term for this little arrangement here.
What's that?
Whatever trouble you're planning with this candelabra, and I think I lean in real close. I'm like, don't leave me out of the fun.
Oh. I'm hoping there will be plenty of fun to go around once the candelabra is recovered. One second. The candelabra in question is said to have belong to Saint Victara, the witchbreaker, the one who so long ago civilized Hemlock before it rebelled again and became a terrible place where they went back to worshiping evil, terrible powers. I'm very concerned with piety, you see, and reverence. The church is very dear to me. Her candelabra went missing some time ago, and Martinus found it and was supposed to sell it to me so that I could in turn resell it to people who deserve to take care of it. Instead, he found a higher bidder. I need the candelabra recovered.
You didn't say who the higher bidder was yet, have you?
Martinus
Or
is
did I?
sort of shaking. Are you asking this in character or just?
This is out of character.
No.
Okay.
About who that higher bidder is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Martinus is looking like Martinus wants to. Well, Martinus is knocked out, so Martinus is fast, cold out on the deck of the ship, which is really where he wanted to fade into anyway.
So I guess I'm asking Vanessa. So who is this higher bidder?
Some vile person named Sattva. I think she believes that Saint Victera, breaker of witches, stole the candelabra from some other place, some darker, more ancient pagan rite. It sounds superstitious to me, and it's costing me thousands and thousands of gold that I could be getting to return this to the best paying church authorities, which I then could use to improve my ship, pay my crew well, get better weapons so that we can kill people who stow away on the ship, develop better security procedures.
Smart.
So 1,000 chancel silver. To steal this back from the woman called Sattva. Does that sound like a fair exchange?
Sounds like you've got yourself a deal.
Lovely. How do the three of you feel about serving as cabin attendants? Or do you have more useful skills?
I guarantee you will enjoy my song.
I suppose it is better than another freaking sea shanty. All right, we put to shore in 3 days, something like that, weather permitting, in chancel up the river.
Now, where's the wine?
If I'm going to enjoy wine, you're going to need to escort me up to my cabin and then fetch it for me.
And I think that I take my sword and I pull off her I take my sword and I cut off her mono boot. Yeah. Pull that off. And then I like cut a hole between her arm and her side, and I just like stick my arm through it, and I'm like, all right, let's go. Just start going up the stairs with her.
Any particular thing anybody else is doing?
Just gathering my stuff, following behind.
I'm taking a second to check out this compass. See if anything leaps out.
It doesn't seem like the kind of thing you would use to trace a normal map. What is it? I mean, normally you would lay a compass across a map and then get readings from, get tracing from that. What tells you this would not lay across a normal map and give you useful readings in a navigational sense?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry, I was muted.
Oh, that's okay. What tells you that this would not give you a normal? This would not be useful navigationally in a normal map.
So this is like a yeah. I think when I place it down, the other side of the compass just kind of moves on its own. It expands and contracts kind of without me doing anything.
Right. Okay. So it's sort of moving without you doing anything. But it always seems to center on specific letters in that where you would normally see numbers on the compass or directional information, you're only seeing sort of letters in that strange sort of fiendish looking alphabet. So I think it's almost that it seems like it's trying to speak or point to things you cannot see or perceive. And moving on its own, not a thing it should be doing. Altaban, anything else you're doing?
Tuning my lute as we're going up.
Okay. All right. The 3 days voyage goes without any significant incident. And you put well, what are you doing with Martinus during this trip?
Leave him in the hold.
Okay, leave him the hole tied up. Bringing food to him, I assume.
Yeah,
of
course. Yeah, we'll keep him comfortable.
Nice.
Or Altaban
will.
We got to keep him alive. He still owes us for saving him.
When you reach Chancel, Vanessa explains that she's keeping Martinus with her, and she is going to give you 10 days. A fortnight? Does a fortnight seem fair? She actually asked.
Where is Sattva? Look at like is Sattva in this community or somewhere else?
She shrugs, but I think Martinus, who's there, is sort of like also like looking again, like he wants to sink into the floorboards of the ship and sort of wash away out to sea, downriver. And he sort of whimpers. Is
he still gagged?
Oh no. He's sort of just whimpering. I don't think, you know.
No.
You've got him to where, you know, he doesn't need to be gagged all the time. So, unless you're specifically keeping him gagged, I think.
I think that I like go up to him and I'm like, you got something to add to this conversation?
She was going to consult with a certain academy in the mountains.
And I think I turn to the others and I'm like, well, it looks like we're going hiking.
Richard, so does fortnight sound like a reasonable deal? I mean, because I don't have a frame of reference.
Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, you're traveling a few days either direction. Up to the mountains, you might want to ask for the second fortnight, but yeah,
we'll do that.
So 2 fortnights. That's fine. I had to look it up, so thanks. But 2 fortnights. And I'll keep your friend here with me. He keeps me company. He's very entertaining. I could use a month in Chancel to settle business dealings here.
He'll do us no good on the mountains.
Oh, no. He will do you 0 good on the mountains. So we are agreed then.
Sure. Just have those coins ready.
So for the first time in 3 days, you're ashore and no longer in the hold of a pirate, or the cabin of a captain of a pirate ship, much less in the hold of a pirate ship. And you're resting in comfort and safety, and we are near the end of the session. So this first night, before you set out, and I'm going to kind of go backwards across my screen, and I'm going to start with on these nights you're in Chancel, a city of some debauchery. And you're in comfort and safety. Nimes, who do you go to? A PC, an EMPC, you know, who's nearby or here. That you might go to when you get back to a place of comfort and safety. Whether you go to them for laughter, tears, arguments and confrontation, or pleasure.
I think I have some family connections, so I probably seek out the town clerks.
This is the family that you're not on good terms with, right?
Not really. It's
Okay.
they'll let me stay, but there are a lot of arguments
You
about.
go to them for a confrontation argument.
Yeah.
How does your stay with them go, do you think? Cold and quiet?
Yeah, definitely cold and quiet.
What's
I'm
the biggest point of disagreement?
I think they can clearly see the Vemeza, and I don't know, they're sort of a devout family, so this is definitely not something that
They want in their home?
yeah. And so I just keep to myself, and yeah.
Do you want... Yeah, so you just keep to yourself and then eventually just sort of leave. What's the one thing you remember on leaving Chancel of that time you spent in their home? And you're muted again, Ren.
So I guess sort of the hypocrisy of it all. They're indulging in their things outside of their religion.
Such as?
Probably I don't know what kind. What are we comparing this?
You can go as freely as you like. I mean, if you want to compare it more like some sort of like pious Protestantism or something like that, you can feel free to do that.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm imagining. So they're going out and sleeping around and coming back at these crazy hours.
Or they're defining you for having a growing coterie of spirits.
Yeah. Spirits is where they draw the line, I guess.
Right. Openly going out, I guess, might be another line.
Yeah.
So you tell me whether you would like, at the end of this, summoning and binding as a form of magic, or the new trait, stealthy.
Probably summoning and binding
as a form of
yeah.
Add that to your form of magic.
Sweet.
And let's... You also roll 1d6 plus 1d6, and that's your new hit points. And you uncheck any traits you've got checked, and we go over to Mason.
Yeah. I think that I've taken on a cloak, and I am looking over my shoulder a lot. as I try to find the seedier, darker places in town.
There are many in Chancel. This religious could be this sinful.
Yeah. I think that when you like see me walking, like one of my hands is kind of out in front of me as I'm walking, like I am being like holding someone's hand and they're pulling me along, except that there's no one there. It's my quote unquote spiritual guardian.
Nice. Okay.
But part of the reason I have this spiritual guardian is for my dark destiny, and that is a destiny which I must endeavor to fulfill. And so I am being led to some exciting new ritual to be a part of, and I think that I'm feeling sort of anxious because sometimes these things are kind of fun and then sometimes they're not. So
right.
Yeah, that's going through my head, and I'm also worried now because I know that I've been spotted by, you know, clerics and whatnot before, priests. So that's a problem in this town particularly, you know.
All right. How does the evening go?
Yeah. I think that it ends up being like both, like really intense, switching from like something kinky, but then it like goes a bit too far. And I think that when it's done, I think that I'm like walking out of the place, but I end up just like breaking into a run and just running away until I find my way back to the others.
Who you knew it wasn't really them, but it was the spitting image of them that you saw there. Who was it you saw?
Who was the splitting image of?
Yeah. Who was the spit? Like you saw somebody who had to be the spitting image of somebody.
I think that it was the it was probably the splitting image of I'm wondering if I wanted to be with them. But
that's fine.
No, I think I'll pick someone new.
Okay.
New. I'm just looking through the list of people here. Oof. The characters are so crazy. It was is there someone who is there's not really criminals in the list for Creed Hall, so maybe I'll just go with I'll go with Patrick. Is he used for something already?
Oh. Who is he?
He's the dean of Creed Hall University.
Oh.
Yeah.
Expect to see it a dark ritual in chancel. How did you know it wasn't him? What was the tell?
I think that the tell was that the eyes were just like completely black. Yeah. And I think that his skin was also kind of pale and like almost translucent.
Mm-hmm. What's the one thing you're going to remember about that night?
I think the one thing I'm going to remember about that night was I think that they like put a tube down my throat and started like pumping me full of something, and I like blacked out.
Wow.
And then when I woke up, the tube wasn't in my throat anymore.
Okay, dark.
Yeah.
1 second. At the end of the night, in the end of this kind of short adventure, do you have more hit points, or do you have better damage?
It's like either way, I'm somehow empowered. I think I'll go with hit points.
Okay. Every time
Somehow
you roll hit points, you're going to roll an extra d6. And you may do that now. So you roll 6 plus 2d6.
All right.
And that's your new hit points. And you uncheck all your traits. And we go to Altaban. Altaban, who do you go to on these nights in Chancel before heading out to the mountains?
There is this very wealthy family that has maintained their sustained our friendship despite the family curse, if you will, that's been imposed on me. this family is very wealthy, and I have a sneaking suspicion that they're Fae. Partly because when I leave, I will be bringing 2 or 3 wineskins, one for each of us, and it's surprisingly similar to Fae wine.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And they may not recognize it as Fae wine. I don't know if they would or not, but I do because my lover,
right,
and my experience with the Fae. But I go and I visit this family, and I perform for them, and they won't be my patrons. Like they would be ideal patrons, but they won't be my patrons because of my history. But they still like welcome me in, and I live the type of life that I once lived when I'm with them. Treated the way I was treated before. I take a long hot bath. They don't have any issues with my bestial features. They just welcome me like they've always welcomed me. And I perform for them, and it's just this kind of return to normal, temporary return to normal.
What's one thing you'll remember about the stay here?
It's I'm only there for one night. I thought you said that we were there for 3 nights.
Your stay.
What's that? Okay. The same thing I always remember, which is that I don't remember much. It's always kind of a haze. I performed. We drank, we debated, it's not a small family. It's not massive, but it's not a small family, and I'm able to kind of bond with each of them, but I just kind of can't put my fingers on exactly what it is that we did. I just know that I enjoyed myself, and that when I'm leaving, I have a glow. At least that's what people tell me.
So, at the end, Fae blessing as a trait, or an additional point of sorcery. It is up to you. And you're muted, sir.
Yeah, I'll take. I'm going to take Fae blessing.
Okay, so that's a new trait. All right. Thank you all. I'm going to stop the broadcast, and then we're going to do. We have a moment to do a quick debrief. Sorry, but I hope you'll check in again for more Krevborna, and we will be back next week.